Sure. So the woman that got shot, what is her name?
AJ.
AJ. Right, it's AJ.
Yeah,
okay, and how long have you known her?
I really didn't know her. I just, she was a neighbor across the street.
Okay, so how long has she been a neighbor across the street from you? Help me understand that.
A year and a half, 2 years.
Okay, year and a half and 2 years. And in that year and a half and 2 years, how many times have you guys been able to talk?
We've never talked. It's more like screaming.
No, okay, all right. So maybe the better word would be communicate. How many times have you guys been able to communicate in that year and a half or 2 years?
2 or 3 times.
2 or 3 times. And in those 2 or 3 times over a year and a half and 2 years, what were you guys screaming about? What were you guys communicating about?
She would take her dog and walk it on my sidewalk to make sure it's shit on the sidewalk. And
Yeah.
like, oh, are you kidding me?
This is Susan Lawrence, a 58-year-old woman who shot a GK A.J. Owens, her 35-year-old neighbor, to death. It was a shocking and sudden incident that occurred after a long, bitter feud between the two neighbors. And the footage you're seeing is of the interrogation that followed after police brought Lawrence in. Today, we're going to piece together the sequence of events that led to AJ losing her life, beginning with an incident in February of 2022 that might have started it all. But before we get into that, we should look into who AJ was. According to reports, AJ worked in the food and hospitality industry. She'd managed to become a manager through sheer hard work, which is especially impressive when you consider that she had 4 children to raise. The father of her kids wasn't in the picture during the time of the incident, or indeed in the year or 2 leading up to it, which meant that AJ had to do it all on her own. It's safe to say that she was very successful at covering all her bases. She excelled in her career, was a devoted, caring, and protective mother to her kids, and went to church regularly. She was also heavily involved in the tight-knit community of Marion County, Florida, where she'd been living for several years prior to the tension with Lawrence. She somehow found the time to be the team mom for the football team her kids played on, as well as for a cheerleading squad. Perhaps her defining characteristic was her empathy. AJ knew firsthand how hard it was to be a single mother, and she was always willing to give other single mothers a helping hand. This was the sort of person she was. Lawrence, on the other hand, was the sort of person that never hesitated to call the police, especially if she felt the least bit inconvenienced. However, the call she placed on February 25, 2022 seemed a bit more serious, at least from Lawrence's point of view.
I work at home. I do insurance. And the kids are screaming and yelling. And so it's very hard for me. And this is my apartment here. When they're all here in the front, it's really, we can hear it's loud, it's noisy, the kids are active.
Okay.
The kids.
Yeah.
But when they come on the side here, I just can't hear my clients.
Okay.
And that's not fair to me.
Yeah, I know.
have
I understand that.
Right to have peaceful and quiet
Listen,
enjoyment.
I understand.
I'm sorry, my heart's thumping.
No, you're fine, just breathe.
I just didn't know she was going to actually get physical with me.
With the sign.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's not cool. You don't get physical. I mean, that's ridiculous.
She just threw it?
No, she whipped it at me.
Okay.
I mean, she hit me.
Basically, Lawrence claims that AJ attacked her with a private property sign after her kids were told to stay off Lawrence's lawn. If this were true, anyone would agree that AJ was guilty of physical assault, but she had a different story to tell about what had just happened.
Showing her sign, like almost like she went and bought a little private property sign and she stuck it in there. So she had the sign and she's basically like ramming the sign in my face. So then when she went to pick it back up, I picked the sign up and I threw the sign. I literally picked the sign up, and as I walked off, I threw the sign. I said, I can go and buy a sign too. It still doesn't mean anything. At that point, I guess she's already on the phone and I'm being attacked. Someone's attacking me. I'm literally in the street now, proceeding to come over here. Everybody's standing.
Where this happening?
Right over here behind the mailbox.
Okay.
The way AJ puts it, Lawrence just bought the private property sign on a whim, potentially to keep the kids off of her lawn. AJ responded by picking up the sign and throwing it away, saying that anyone can buy a sign if they wanted to. This is what Lawrence was referring to as a physical assault. Now, you might think this is just a case of he said, she said, but other people living on the street seem to back up AJ's claims.
Yeah, she didn't touch that lady. She just took the thing out the ground and that was it.
What thing?
The thing, the no trespassing thing. But she didn't touch her. No, she didn't throw it at her leg. She did not throw the damn thing.
That's what London said, because London was a...
No, she didn't throw it.
No, she kind of tossed it.
Shut up, he's not over here to talk to you. She just set it down, and the lady just happened to be there. She didn't throw it at the lady. She didn't touch the lady or nothing.
But even...
And all she did was tell the lady to stop yelling at her kids. That lady yells at everybody's kids out here.
Okay. Well, I mean, I wouldn't go over there anymore.
However, the police don't seem convinced. Perhaps this is yet another example of racial bias, or maybe the officer in charge just lacked experience. But AJ was the one who was told off for letting her kids trespass on private property.
So, since that is found out that is her property, she has a no trespass, so unfortunately that means can't go over there.
Well, that's fine. I mean, if it's hers, it's hers. But I mean,
It doesn't matter if it's not hers. She rents there, just like you rent here. You wanted somebody to trespass from right here, you called us and we saw them on the property, they'd be trespassed. The next time we came out, they'd go to jail. Okay? That's the way that works.
all right. I mean,
You have the same right that she does. So, I mean, she doesn't want them over there, don't have them over there. The landlord put a sign there for a reason. That is what it is.
it is.
Okay?
Absolutely.
Though the officer's tone is unusually harsh and he seems to be biased in Lawrence's favor, some might say that he has a point. Private property is private property. There are no two ways about it, and trespassing is liable to get you arrested. Indeed, Lawrence must have felt pretty satisfied when the police came back to her and said that they'd be looking into the incident. They didn't have enough evidence to make a formal arrest, but Lawrence had most definitely accomplished what she'd set out to do. The officer in the following video seems to take Lawrence's side without question, agreeing with her version of the story completely and acknowledging that she's free to file a restraining order against AJ.
Hey, Miss Susan. So right now, I'm gonna issue a card to you
Okay.
with the case number on it,
Okay.
because I'm gonna write it up as a battery. Just no
Okay.
arrest can be made at this time.
Okay.
But it has been known to her
Okay.
that this is your property, and for them not to come back on.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Told them, I mean, it's not, we can't be out here all the time to
understand.
make
No,
them.
I completely
I would
understand.
try and ask the landlord to try and get you a camera, maybe, if he could do that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, since he's probably selling the place.
Unfortunately, now he's going to lose this sale.
It's already for sale? He already
He
listed
told
it?
me
Okay.
he was selling it. I actually had started the mortgage application process. So I was going to buy it. I thought it was going to be a cute little investment, but I'm not going to be threatened by people in my neighborhood.
No, I understand that. It's not worth it.
No.
Okay, so this,
Put the non-mercy number in there.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
We put those at the bottom.
I just didn't expect people to do it.
Yep.
Sorry.
And if you want to go, you're able to try and go to the courthouse and do it that way. Just find
What's
out.
her name so I can get a restraining order?
It'll be on the report.
Will it? Okay.
Yep.
So,
It's going to be active right now.
Okay.
We'll call you. We're going to try, maybe if something else pops up, like someone
Okay.
had video or something,
Okay.
we'll call you back in a couple days
Okay.
and check with you. And if we
Okay.
don't have anything.
But of course, this wasn't the last time Lawrence tried to make trouble for AJ and her kids. If she wanted to file a restraining order, no one was stopping her. The police were clearly on her side. Despite all that, Lawrence called the police about a dozen more times over the course of the year. She had an almost pathological obsession with getting the police to take action against AJ and her children, but the next officer to come to her door seemed to have a bit more sense. To be more specific, he pointed out that the area the kids were playing in was for common use. It wasn't trespassing on private property like she believed. The fact that she felt so encouraged by the previous officer didn't help matters much, but this was the first sign that Lawrence wasn't always going to get what she wanted from the cops.
we trespass the hell out of here.
So what I'm looking at, or where they're at, you can't trespass anybody from that location. The issue is that the parking lot is a common area.
While the officer is handling the situation, a neighbor walks up to the porch to try and provide some additional context. Lawrence seems to think that this is trespassing, but once again, the officer begs to disagree. The neighbor provides some additional context regarding Lawrence's behavior. Apparently, AJ's not the only one that noticed how rude this woman could be around children, and how easily she's descended into angry name-calling at the slightest provocation. The funny thing is, she claims that she was the one who was called names by a bunch of kids. Everyone except her seemed to hold a different view of the situation, though.
I was trying to reason with her one day because we were all playing here. Young kids, everything jumped. All right, let's go. And she's like, hey, you know what? One day you guys are gonna die. And I'm like, and that's when I like, whoa.
If you needed any proof that Lawrence could be, let's say, a tad unreasonable, She interrupted the man while he was talking with police officers and asked them to move away from her home. Her excuse was that the barking of a dog and perhaps interference from the police radios were causing feedback and making it difficult for her to talk to her customers as she worked from home. You can see the officer getting rather frustrated by Lawrence's behavior as well.
And apparently they're gonna match their pay.
I'm getting too much feedback on the phone from the dog. Can you at least go someplace where he's not barking? Please, I'm getting too much feedback. I can't hear my dog. Captain.
It's a dog. You can't stop the dog from barking.
Yeah, but too much feedback. Can you please at least go
So,
someplace?
yeah, that's, tell me, that's,
All right, well, you have a good one. Apparently, we can't stand here and have a conversation.
The feud continued throughout the year, and while this was the first time an officer seemed frustrated by Lawrence's antics, it was by no means the last. It seems as though the officer during the February incident was an outlier. Practically every officer that arrived on the scene for Lawrence's subsequent complaints couldn't help but notice how irrational she was being. By the way, I post true crime and new cases here every day, so if that sounds like your kind of thing, please consider subscribing. It helps a lot. On the 10th of August, yet another incident occurred where Lawrence called 911. Here we start to see a pattern in Lawrence's statements. She tends to claim some injury or the other whenever she's talking to police officers. This time around, she says that she can't stand the noise of children playing because she has migraines, which are somehow connected to her having had back surgery as well. Previously, she was finding it difficult to work. One has to wonder, how has this woman survived this long in modern society if she calls the police every time she hears a little noise?
Kids keep running back and forth over here. When the kids are out front, it's really noisy. The way my apartment's set up, you can see it ends here. They're screaming, yelling. I don't get a break from the kids at all. They don't have children. I've asked them, please, the kids all live on that side of the street. For some reason, they love to play over here. I'm like, guys.
Probably because it's open.
I understand that. I have migraines, horrible migraines. I had a very bad car wreck. I had my neck fused. I need more back surgery. I don't want to hear these children. I've asked them, please, keep the kids away. There's other places they can play. They don't have to play here. They're screaming, yelling at me, telling the kids are not hurting anybody. The kids, they're not damaging anything. Well, they're damaging me because the migraines are so bad. Most days I could barely stand. I'm on Zopiromate. I'm on Furosets. I'm on Sumatriptan. It's horrible for me. I'm in pain. I don't want to hear the children. I'm not trying to be a but, it's not fun.
Okay. Well, have you talked to your landlord?
Yes. There's no trespassing sign.
Okay.
And they're saying that this guy is giving them okay to be on the property. He doesn't own the property. Someone up in North Carolina owns the property. I'm a real estate agent. Looked them up. So I don't know where they're getting their information from. It's just not true. I don't want to be intimidated by them screaming and yelling at me, telling me I'm a bitch, calling me Karen. They're calling me names. Really, we're going to, devolve to this simple bullying.
The officer in this video also seems perturbed by Lawrence's lack of empathy for kids. We also see the start of Lawrence's claims that the children call her names, taking particular issue with the fact that they call her a Karen. It's true that no one should have to hear other people calling them names, but there's simply no evidence that what Lawrence was saying was true. In fact, if anything, she was the one that may have been using the most disturbing language imaginable.
What kind of things was she saying that you called her kids?
That I called them racial slurs, that I called them slaves, and that's never happened. When she said, I'm like, why don't you stop already, stop lying, And I was like, enough, what? I did call them retards once, because they just kept coming and coming. I said, are you retarded? You can't read the sign.
Okay.
How many times do we have to tell you you're trespassing,
Now, all these kids nowadays, they have tablets and phones and stuff. Are you, you can tell us the truth. It's just us in here. I think we were looking at different videos and people were telling us about, we spoke to everybody in the neighborhood separately. Was there other times when you got frustrated or something with these kids and you said something else that we're not talking about? Have you said other words to them or something about middle fingers or something? Tell me about that.
It wasn't at the kids, it was at the gentleman.
Who's the gentleman?
I only know him by his name, Sapito.
So, okay.
So he's a guy, he gets all the kids together, so they're screaming and yelling and they're doing all this crazy stuff, and I'm like, stop already.
She admitted to using one type of abusive language at the kids, but fell short of acknowledging her use of any actual racial slurs. The officers interrogating her do seem to have some kind of a lead about her displaying at least some racist behavior, likely due to information provided by witnesses. You might be wondering, why on earth would she do something like that? Well, it might have something to do with a few accusations she's levied against the kids.
They stole the do not trespass sign. They've been coming, throwing bottles of water against my sliding glass door. They've actually banged on the door so hard they broke the, the casing around the door. And I walk out of my truck, they're screaming at me. As soon as I walk to the truck, they come up to me and just scream like idiots. And I lost my nerve today. I just couldn't take it anymore. I called the kids retards. Then the mother comes screaming at me, "Don't call my children retards. I'm going to put you in a nursing home." Like, why? I mean, I don't understand what's wrong with these people over here. I've never had an area where I lived in where they've been so, aberrant in behavior.
Right.
Is there anything I can do with these people?
Things were escalating fast. Lawrence was convinced that a group of kids from the neighborhood were out to get her. Little did anyone know she had a gun in her home that she wasn't afraid to use. It would take her a few months to work up the courage to whip the gun out, and until then, the situation would continue to deteriorate in the neighborhood. In December of 2022, pretty much the entire neighborhood had written Lawrence off as some kind of crazy person. They knew she was someone that would cause trouble, but by and large considered her to be harmless. Who would expect someone to fire shots over some kids playing outside? To understand that, we must keep following the sequence of events as they occurred. AJ had no way of knowing that she was about to celebrate the last Christmas of her life. In the lead up to this final celebration, Lawrence decided to kick up a fuss once again. Her reason remained the same. She didn't like the kids played outside her home.
Hello. Hi, how are you?
Sheriff's Office.
Hi.
What's going on this evening?
Lots of children screaming their full heads off, running around. I had my truck parked in front here, so I didn't have to listen to the screaming and yelling. As soon as I moved the truck, the kids are coming up. I'm like, guys, stop. They know they're not supposed to be over here. They've been told many times. They've previously stolen a trespassing sign. And the little kid tells me to shut up to my face. I said, don't be disrespectful to me. And we're just exchanging words back and forth. I'm like, listen, my name is Dr. Lawrence. Don't tell me to shut up. And he was calling me names. I'm like, no, we're not going to do that. I said, go wherever you live. All of a sudden, I hear knock. His mother comes over here. If you treat my son like that again, I'm going to rip your ass out and go beat you up. Excuse me? I don't bloody well think so. And I said, see that no trespassing sign? Get off my porch. And no, I'm not going to. I said, no, I'm calling the sheriff's department. And I don't know who the hell she was, but...
Do you know where she lives?
I guess somewhere in there.
Do you know what she looks like?
She was black, maybe 20s, 30s, but I'm not going to take this. I don't like this,
Okay.
you know. This
Is she tall, short, fat, skinny?
Hi.
Wearing
Taking
purple?
measures, these kids over here.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but I was like, enough. They're
Okay.
screaming. I mean,
Okay.
screaming
Well,
for hours.
I got you, but I need to know what she was wearing and a description so I can talk to her.
Unfortunately for me, I had my glasses off because I was decorating this little tree.
Okay.
So when I take these off, here's what I see. I see you and kind of blurry.
Okay.
And this light is off. So I didn't get to see much. She was not clothing. That's all I saw. But
Okay.
it's ridiculousness.
It's unconfirmed if the woman Lawrence is referring to here is AJ, the eventual victim of her trigger happiness. However, considering that the altercations in the past happened directly between Lawrence and AJ, it's possible that it was a further escalation of the same feud. Lawrence was now claiming that AJ, or someone else in the neighborhood, was threatening physical violence against her. This would be crucial in her justification for her actions later on, but for now, this particular officer had to hear from the other party involved.
Okay. So,
Now we're clear.
were you the guys that this lady was mad about?
Yes, and I just want to say that every time, like even
Hey,
if we're not.
hold on. Let's bring it down.
Okay, I'm sorry.
You're okay.
Every time,
You're okay.
even if we're not on our property and we're just like being loud and playing basketball over there because there's a basketball hoop.
I got you.
Like she just calls us names.
Okay.
Yeah, like literally, all the kids, because that's an open spot right there.
Yeah.
all that is not her property.
I got
The
you.
guy that I was just telling this officer right here, this guy has said numerous times, y'all come over here and play, because they all like to play football and stuff.
Okay.
So he's okay with it, and that's where they mainly are. They're more on his side.
Whose mom are you? Any of them?
Well, they're all mine. I'm saying no.
Hey.
My kids aren't really here, but they're always outside playing with them.
All right, so let me just talk to you guys real quick, okay? What kind of names is she calling you guys?
Retards, the B word,
The B word.
the P word, everywhere in the book. Like one time the kids were playing right there, and it was his dad outside. And then she came
Your
out
dad?
yelling at
Cowboy?
Yeah, my dad.
She came out yelling, and she was talking about a little girl getting raped and stuff. Like, she's crazy. Like, she'll come out just yelling
She
about.
just says weird. Like, I have said stuff to her before because one time I happened to come outside and she was calling them retards, and I'm like, hey, like, relax. I'm like, these are kids here.
I got you.
Unsurprisingly, the kids tell the officer that Loring screams at them even if they're nowhere near her property. And once again, we hear that she calls the kids names, although no racial accusations have been made just yet. After this, a resident of the neighborhood speaks to the officer about how difficult it is living with Lorings in the neighborhood.
Mom said that they were over here playing football. The old man, I guess, lives over here.
They said he comes out and plays with them.
Yeah, he has no problem with kids.
Yeah.
She's the only problem.
Yeah.
But essentially what happened was that her 9-year-old son and her older son were playing football together. And she came out, started mouthing off.
Yeah.
The 9-year-old mouthed back to her.
Yeah, that's
And
what I was
so
talking to him about.
The older son came and got mom, brought little brother home. Older brother told mom, hey, yeah, he was mouthing off at her. So mom grounded son.
Oh.
But mom came back over here to try and resolve the issue. Well, she never opened up the door. She only talked to her through the screen door, first of all. So never even opened up the door. But the 9-year-old said that with mom, she stepped towards me. She walked towards me in an aggressive manner. I didn't know what she was going to do to me. I thought she might hurt me.
Yeah. From what they're saying, and that cry rights and everything.
So mom went over there and was like, listen, I don't know what happened. This is what my son said. I'm going to get your side of the story. And she's like, no, you're trespassing. Get the heck out of here. You and your bastard children, this, that, and the other. And she's like, okay, well, listen, if you don't want to resolve this next time, if you step towards my kids, you're going to have to deal with me. Is what mom said to her.
Yeah.
Not any kind of, I'm going to snatch your ass and beat your ass.
They were saying they'll be outside playing. And I was like, I get it. You guys are loud. They're like, yeah, sometimes we can. I'm like, and they're like, even sometimes we're not, we'll just be sitting there and she'll scream at us.
And that's what mom said is that she'll park her truck up there, and then they'll be over here playing in the field and whatnot, and she'll set off the car alarm for no reason, or if nobody's even over there, or if the kids are just like hanging out over there in the open field, she'll just set the car alarm off.
This neighbor provides some crucial context for what actually happened. One of AJ's kids was indeed rude to Lorings, and his older brother confirmed it. That's when AJ went over to talk to Lorings, only to be met with a shut screen door. Lorings refused to talk to AJ or to discuss anything that just happened. What's shocking is that Lorings actually told AJ that she was trespassing at that point, even though she'd only stepped over to de-escalate the situation. AJ tried to be the adult in the situation. Lorings refused. This was how things went in the neighborhood. The clock was ticking, the new year arrived, and in the late hours of June 2nd, 2023, police received a call that someone had been shot. It was a perfectly normal Friday that day. AJ's kids played where they always did, but one of them apparently forgot his tablet on Lorings' property. When he came to retrieve it, Lorings allegedly threw it away and then threw a pair of roller skates at the boy.
Did you have any conflicts with anybody in particular on Friday at all?
Just the kids when they're, well, it wasn't a conflict. I just told them, come on, stop trespassing, you know, move along, take it. The kids kept putting things out. They had marbles by my truck. They put their skates out. I tripped over the skate one morning that I had to leave very early, and I'm like, crap. And I'm like, stop leaving your freaking toys here. You know, I'm not the most stable person, you know, with my knees and stuff like that, when I'm walking. If I fall again, you know, who the hell knows what's going to happen between my back and my knees and, you know, the other injury. And I don't understand why they just keep leaving their crap there. And I'm like,
That sounds frustrating.
It's extraordinarily frustrating.
You said there was a skate. Was there something that happened with the skate on Friday?
When the kids were there, yeah,
keep leaving the skates really close to the house. I'm like, stop already, you know, because when you go around and you do stuff and you're bringing packages in, sometimes I bring the truck up. I'm like, I don't want to walk over your skates and shit. I'm like, pick your damn shit up. So.
So where were those skates when you picked them up?
I want to say that they were maybe 5-6 feet of the sidewalk.
On the grass?
Yes.
Okay. And you took some photograph or took a photograph of that with your phone?
Yes.
Okay. And there was a video at some point. It looked like you were taking a picture or a video through the screen from you being inside to them outside. Is that around the time frame that you shot him the bird or something along those lines? Maybe not right there. Okay.
Probably.
Okay. Because it looked like there was a bunch of them kind of further out in the field, but there was a lot of kids playing out there, and I guess
the screaming. You heard how much they were screaming over the TV.
She skirted around this fact in her statement, but police had already taken testimony from various witnesses. They knew that Lawrence was the aggressor in this case, and it didn't stop there. When the younger boy told his older brother about what happened, he was understandably upset, and he went over to Lawrence to talk to her.
That's when he said, I said, you guys need to leave. He said, I don't need to leave. I can be anywhere I want. It's, you know, I forget what the hell he said. Just something to the effect that I have no limits where I can go. I'm like, okay.
Okay, but he wasn't the one that was there when you tossed the roller skates into the yard? It was the other child?
It should have been both boys.
Were they both there with the roller skate thing?
Yeah.
Okay, so when you came out, the umbrella that was behind your door, was that the one?
Yes.
Okay, and what exactly happened with that? Because that's another one of those things where we were talking to people who were right there, kind of, they already heard some yelling and back and forth, so they're kind of watching, and
I may have been talking with my hands, so.
Swinging the umbrella?
Yeah, just, you know, come on guys, leave, you know, and gesturing. So
how far away were they when you were doing this, and where do you think you were at?
I remember being on the sidewalk, and then they were at least 5-7 feet away from me.
Okay.
They weren't even close.
What did they do when you were swinging it around?
Nothing.
They didn't do anything?
No, there was no reaction.
They didn't say anything? They didn't back away?
I honestly don't recall.
Okay.
It didn't rain on Friday. Why did you have an umbrella?
I thought it was raining. We had precip, and I thought when the kids got quiet that it rained finally and they went home.
So that's why you had the umbrella out?
Yes.
So it sounds like there's a lot of things going on with the kids that day. It sounds like you're taking videos, and then there was a middle finger towards this guy. It sounds like the skates are in the way. You had to throw those because she says, "Give me the skates." You throw the skates, and then you're swinging the umbrella because they're not getting away. There's a lot going on with the kids. Is that accurate?
Yes.
In Lawrence's version of events, she thought it was going to rain even though nothing of the sort was forecast for the day. She claimed that she just happened to have the umbrella and she started swinging it around because the kids weren't leaving. This version of the story wasn't lining up with what actually happened. Regardless, AJ found out that Lawrence had physically threatened her children, and she decided it was time to have a face-to-face conversation with Lawrence. Unfortunately, Lawrence seemed to perceive this as a threat.
I think she said, why do you speak to my children this way? And I said, listen, I'm not going to speak to you. Go away. You know, if she had a problem, she should have called you guys. You know, honestly. I mean, if she really thought there was something seriously wrong, I don't understand why she just came over and just started pounding on my door and, you know, screaming and yelling. So.
And then what happened after you said to go away?
To go away, and then it got quiet for a bit, and then she started really banging, you know, just pounding on that door. She was relentless.
How long is a bit, would you say?
I don't know,
like
because
5-10 seconds or 2 minutes? Or?
It was an extended period of time, probably 20 to 30 seconds, easily.
But during that time, you didn't hear anything else? Did you think she went away?
No, well, I obviously knew she didn't go away because she was screaming while she was pounding.
Describe that. When you say screaming, describe what does that mean?
You're not supposed to speak to my children this way. Why did you, you know? And then she was saying, I'm going to kill you. And I'm like, holy shit. You know, and that's when
Well, you said there was like the initial barrage of the pounding, and you said, who's there? And she said, you know, what you said about not talking to her children that way.
Yeah.
And then you said it got quiet. So there was no banging, there was no words being said.
Because I thought she went away.
But the thing is, no other witnesses corroborated what Lawrence was saying, and it's hard to see how AJ could have threatened Lawrence to such a degree. The officer said as much during the interrogation, and Lawrence didn't seem to have a response.
I'm having a really hard time making this jump here, that this unarmed person on the other side of the wall is somehow gonna get into your house and kill you. I'm just really having a hard time getting there. I've been doing this job as a homicide investigator for several years, and I've seen houses that are made out of like pretty much be paper mache. Okay, doors that are so thin, like balls of wood you could just push through. And this is a block house with a solid door. I've seen cases before where there is an angry spouse and say, let me back in the house, you can't throw me out, and they'll kick the wall as hard as they can, and they're not getting in some of these doors open inwards, outwards. I don't know which way your door opens. Which way does it open? It opens outward?
I think it opens out.
Okay. So
it opens inwards.
It opens inwards. Okay. So they work on these doors and they're not even able to make entry, and they just give up. And I'm really having a hard time understanding like how if you could go back in time, would you not do what you did? Would you take it back and I don't know, wait however long it took for the police to get there? I'm trying to understand that. Do you feel like you did something wrong here?
But what exactly did happen when AJ came knocking? It's a troubling thing to talk about, so trigger warning to those that might not want to hear about gun violence. Police arrived on the scene to find absolute chaos. Lawrence had been shot through the door and she was lying bleeding out on the floor. Officers immediately headed to Lawrence's home and ordered her to come out with her hands up.
We need to do CPR real quick.
Baby, wake up!
CPR.
Baby, wake up!
Let me see. Do we have any pulse? Do we have any pulse? We got a pulse! We got a pulse! I'm in front. All right. Sheriff's office, come outside with your hands up! This is the Marion County Sheriff's Office, come outside with your hands up! Show me your hands! Show me your hands! Turn around! Turn around! Where's your gun at? You got hands? You got hands? You're going to be detained. Is there anybody else in the house?
There's somebody else in the house. Can I just get my
No,
daughter?
no, not right now.
All right.
You're not under arrest. You're being detained.
Okay, I understand.
Come over here.
Wait, please close the door. I have two cats inside.
Hold
I
on.
don't want the cats to run out.
As police put cuffs on Lawrence, an officer rushes to where AJ is lying on the ground. She still has a pulse, and there might be a chance to save her after all. Unfortunately, even though she was still technically alive, she didn't have much time left.
The police bag? Green shoulder bag. Here. Go assess the person down. Okay.
You're fucking done. She's still with us.
Here. Move. She's got a pulse. Move. She does? Here.
Yeah.
She's got a pulse.
Where's
the gunshot wound?
I don't know.
Here.
What did she shoot her with? Here.
It's probably like a 22 or something.
Oh, God.
She says she has a pulse?
No exit, yes.
She's got pulse.
Very
She said
faint,
she's got
very
pulse.
faint, very faint. There's no exit.
Bro, this lady's been planning to do this for the longest time, bro. Cops on this fucking woman for fucking ever. Oh my God.
AJ was later pronounced dead after being rushed to a nearby hospital, and Lawrence found herself on the hook for murder.
59 deputies are on the way.
Okay.
Okay. Now you estimated that it was approximately 10 minutes after you disconnected until the AJ started pounding on your door. Is that correct? Is
Yes.
that what? Okay. So the second 911 call where you called, lady was banging on my door, I shot her through the door. That call came into our call center. It was received at 9:01, which is 2 minutes after you hung up with the communication center the first time. So that's 2 minutes that all these things that you say occurred happened at your front door. From pounding and pounding and pounding and pounding, I'm gonna kill you, all these things. Within 2 minutes, she showed up at your front door and did all these things to the time that you pulled the trigger, went and found your phone, and then called 911. So, and that's why I'm trying to get...
To me, it seemed like that amount of time. That's why I thought it was that amount of time.
Well, so clearly we've established that that was not true, that that's not the case, but that's what you felt it was. So you also told me that that's what you heard, that she was going to kill you. Is it possible that she did not say that, and that's what you heard or you believed, just like you believed it was 10 minutes between those calls?
I just thought she said, I'm going to kill you. I mean, that's what I heard. That's why I was so in fear of my life. I was like, Jesus Christ, she's pounding on my door. She's going to break in. She's going to kill me.
But is it a possibility? If you believe that there was 10 minutes to 15 minutes, adding in 10 minutes before it started, and then approximately another 5 minutes on top of that, that you believe that 2 minutes was 15 minutes, was it a possibility that maybe you thought you heard that, but it wasn't that what she actually said?
I have no idea. That's what I heard.
Okay.
Throughout her interrogation, Lawrence continuously tried to claim that her life was in danger. When that was disproven, she claimed that she may have shot the gun unintentionally, a claim that was yet again proven to be untrue. Perhaps she thought that Florida's stand your ground laws would be on her side, and when she came to court, that's certainly what her defense attorney argued. But the thing is, there was no proof that she was being threatened in any way. If anything, she was the one that had threatened AJ's children, and the judge seemed to agree with that. The fact that Lawrence showed hardly any remorse during her interrogation is something that definitely worked against her at her trial, because it showed a complete lack of empathy. She just shot and killed someone, but all she could do was talk about how sick she was and how annoying those children were. In the end, Lawrence was sentenced to 25 years in prison for manslaughter. She was able to beat the murder charge, but considering she's nearly 60 years old, it's all but guaranteed that she will die behind bars. AJ's family started a GoFundMe that received upwards of $80,000 in donations. This may not bring her back, but it would give her family some solace at the very least. The truly tragic thing is that her son blamed himself for her death. He seemed to think that it was somehow his fault that Lawrence lost her mind and shot an unarmed woman. It will take years for him to recover from this trauma, and the same goes for his 4 siblings. With AJ gone, her kids will have to move in with other members of her family. The only thing that might make it easier for them is the fact that the perpetrator will remain behind bars for decades. She will die in that prison, and it might be hard for her to live there at all considering how noisy prisons tend to be. Perhaps that's some kind of cosmic justice, but either way, Lawrence will not have an easy time in jail. So what do you think of this case? Did Lawrence receive a just sentence, or was the judge perhaps too lenient with her? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If you like the way we create these videos and you want to help bring more cases like this to light, hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives. Thank you once again for watching.